Hi. Another question I got very recently I thought was kind of interesting and I would share it. And someone asked me, is it possible that turbulence can actually flip an airplane upside down? Specifically, could it flip a jetliner upside down? And my answer was, well, no, not exactly. And the physics proves this out. Basically, airplanes have, commercial airlines particularly, are flying very fast. They have their own inertia. They're flying through the air. And that turbulence you might get affects the entire air mass. In order for the airplane to just flip upside down, the only way that would be possible is if you had some massive concentrated burst of air or force to just hit one part of the airplane, just hit one wing. That doesn't happen. The airplane flies through the entire air mass and it essentially stays in balance. The only way that would really happen if you just took off a wing or if a wing came off. Yes, if you had total lift on one side and no lift on the other, it would corkscrew and rotate. Absent that, that won't happen. People may be worried about that when they feel a gust of air and they get this big jolt. But for the most part, even the biggest jolts move the airplane vertically maybe 50 feet, maybe less than that. And that's really because of your manual flight controls and the automatic flight controls. More than likely, if you're flying at a cruise altitude, the autopilot's engaged. And the autopilot makes corrections to maintain the proper pitch, the proper attitude, the proper speed to have coordinated flight. And if there's any kind of disturbance, there are counter controls that will return the airplane to that stable position. There's something called dynamic stability. There's positive, negative, and neutral dynamic stability. Airplanes are primarily made to have positive dynamic stability. Basically, if there is a disturbance, they should reestablish that stable position so that when they're knocked up, down, left, right, or whatever, the flight controls try to take that knocking away and return it to stable positions. The biggest thing you need to worry about is making sure that you're secured. That's the big deal. The airplane is very powerful. As we said before, you've got ribs and spars and stringers and things that reinforce the hull. So there's no problem there. You're not going to go upside down. You may worry a little bit, but for the most part, at the worst case, you're probably moving no more than 50 feet. Everybody's got a radar. We use radar to try to avoid storms. Every once in a while, you might find yourself near one because storms can produce winds that extend out perhaps 10, 20, 50 miles away. Most cases, you avoid storms by 20 miles or so. But sometimes the entire air mass is unstable. That's just the way it goes. But your flight controls, the yaw dampers that keep the airplane from yawing too much they work in concert with the ailerons and the other control surfaces to give you that stable flight. So no matter what axis the airplane is disturbed in, the system will try to make it reestablish its firm position and give you as best a ride as possible. And when things get really bumpy, most air crews are going to slow down. It seems like the jarring is a lot less the slower the airplane is. That's all for today. Thank you very much.